newly converted not nice man here. Ah, yes, I am not a nice man, according to Missing the Mark, whose name is Christopher, but I call him Mark because I think it's funny to do so. He made a video, and it's it's bad. It's a bad video. It's not good. It's not funny. It's nothing new. Anyway, so he says it's satire, so that makes it okay. And I wanted to talk about some of the comments that I got from him in our exchange, and just to talk with you that is watching this or will be watching this and get your thoughts on it. How do you feel about it? What do you make of it? What can be done, if anything? All right. So I commented, because he says in this video, after he sarcastically mimics an atheist that he's reading the comments from, here in the video he's reading these comments, and he's here. Listen in. Here, hold on.
Disallow anything. I don't recall anywhere in the Bible where it mentions Moses as someone who can just command people as though he was God. You're completely wrong about the interpretive.
So he's reading in this, voice, the atheist comments. And then in the video he says, I'm not trying to hurt anyone. I'm like, oh, come on, really? You kind of are, though, aren't you? Just a little bit, maybe. So I said, you didn't mean it to hurt anyone? Oh, please. I sound hurt, apparently, or maybe that's in regards to Mark. I don't know. Then Missing the Mark says, would you like for me to show you what it looks like when I want to hurt someone? What? If you want to, Mark, I don't know why you would want to do that. I mean, that sounds very unchristian of you, Mark. I don't know why you would even say that. Like, why not respond? No, I really didn't intend this to be harmful, but I could see that it could hurt somebody's feelings. Or something like that. Or maybe, rethink it. I don't know. I mean, just an idea, But anyways, I said, bring it on, Mark. It'll just show you're kind of a bully or a jerk. It will not forward any argument you make, nor will it negate arguments you have, but it will color how people view you. It would be nice to see you display love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. By the way, those are the fruits of the Spirit that we should be seeing from Christians. Yet, sometimes, and far often than not, for whatever reason on YouTube, at any rate, it seems like we happen to encounter a lot of angry-ish Christians. I don't know. I don't know. Christians that aren't very good at being Christian. However you want to put that. It's like, I don't like keep track or anything, but it's just weird how these things that we ought to be seeing are not seen. And I said, I don't know, Mark. Seems to me that since your arguments are so bad, that maybe being nice might get people to want to join the religion you have or something. Your arguments aren't going to do that. Honestly, do you even care about the souls of others? Now, to that, he should say, absolutely, I care about the souls. I'm going to try to be more nice, and whatever. Anyways. And then Will Huff says, are you the type of atheist he talked about? Because he said, that the people are kind of the dumber atheists or the ones that watch the Skeptic channel, because it says on the about page of Skeptic channel that it's like it doesn't really say that it's for dumb atheists, but Mark makes it say that by reading it like off. Anyways, he says, I was asking if you're interested in properly calibrating your idea of when I'm trying to hurt people. Evidently not. What the fuck are you going on about? What? You're not a nice man. See, there it is. I'm not. Apparently, I'm not nice. Maybe I'm not being nice to Mark, perhaps because he's not being nice to other people. I don't know. I mean, sometimes I'm nice. Depends. And you don't actually want me to be a nice man. I don't? Really? Amazing. How does he know that? How does Mark just know my intents and my feelings and my desire? I do want Mark to be nice because he hasn't been nice. And I think it would be nice to see him be nice. He's been kind of rude and abrasive a lot lately. You know, making those videos, dumb things atheists say. That's not very nice. You know, there's other ways you could frame that. So please stop wasting my time talking about it. Oh, yeah, that's the one way. Yeah, avoid the conversation. The one thing you have going for you with me is sincerity. Don't ruin that if you want me to talk to you. I don't care what he thinks about me. I only care about the argument. That's all I've ever cared about. So I sold them that. Blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. Skip. It doesn't matter, right? So I guess I'll go a little bit into it. Basically, I said, look, make fun of me. I don't care. Whatever. Block me. Whatever. What would Jesus do? Maybe delete this video. Maybe delete your atheist or dumb videos. And I said, if you did that, happy to delete my response videos. You know? And then I said, Wolf can... I'm too dumb to know if I am or not. Ha! Pwned myself. Haha, checkmate me. But yeah, I mean, you know, this just kind of, I don't know. It's just so weird to go that route. Like, I want to win this argument so badly that I'm willing to self-sabotage by asking if you want to see me hurt somebody. Like, I don't know. Anyways, also talked about in this video is slavery of that was initiated in the Old Testament, and how the early Jews, asking them to not have slaves would just be too much for the early Jews. That God placing that burden on them would just be too hard for them to handle. They just wouldn't be able to deal with it. Oh, those Jews, those early Jews. If God asked them to stop doing slavery, they'd just be like, I can't do it. So I said, it was just too much for the early Jews to be told by God to not have slaves. My word, Mark, you have a low view of either the early Jews and or God's ability. Which one is it, Mark? This guy asked who's Mark. I had to clarify. Anyways, missing the mark says, I have a very low view of humanity in general. It's apparently too much to ask modern people to keep their vows or not murder their children in the womb. Okay, we'll get to that in a moment. And if you read the Bible, you'll find out that it's as much as God did ask if the early Jews was often too much for them. The Old Testament is mostly the story of, and then it cut off because they made it big, so it doesn't like that. I get, not really. Anyway, all right. I don't know why it's doing that. Sometimes this happens. I don't know. Anyways, so God asks the Jews to do something they're unable or unwilling to do it. God knows that they're unwilling or unable to do it, but yet God asks them to do it anyways. So telling them don't do the slave thing, how would that be too much for them if they're already, there's other things you're telling them not. So, hey, don't kill people. That was too much for them. So they, a few of them killed people. And then, of course, the punishment for killing somebody was to drag them to the edge of the town and stone them to death. So why wouldn't it be the punishment for having a slave would be dragged to the edge of town and stoned to death? Unless maybe God didn't order anything about the slaves. Maybe that was the people, and they attributed it to God. But Mark needs it to be God that's ordering these things, I guess. And I said to Mark, I said, I tend to be jaded at times, but I have a higher view of humanity. People can and will do amazing things when called upon, when asked with love, when explained why they should do something. There are people that I've encountered who were great teachers and leaders, kind people who you wanted to be around. Someone like that could get me to do the right thing. So here you have this perfect being that can't seem to get anyone to do anything decent. At least try. Why would it matter if the Jews couldn't live up to the standard anyways? Wasn't that sort of the point of the 613 commandments? Seems to me you're blaming the humans, but isn't it the fault of God who didn't even try to instruct them? In fact, seems like everything that happened would have to be God's fault since it made everything. I mean, sure, it could exist, but it would be a very smart God nor a good God. And this guy says, oh, God did instruct him, but they didn't like it and nailed him to a cross. Yeah, whatever. If you ask too, and then missing the mark says, if you ask too much of people, they'll just stop trying it all. Oh, yeah, really. Oh, okay. Yeah, just, okay. No, I give up. You asked me too much. Really? They will? Well, then whose fault is that? It would be the God that made the people, wouldn't it? Can't God give somebody strength? So why not help them to do the thing? If it's like, I want to do good, I want to do the thing you're telling me to do, but I just don't have enough strength. Then give me some strength, good. That's why Mark stopped trying. Yeah, because I mean, what's the point? You're gonna ask too much of me, I'll just give up. Whatever. It's just a defeatist attitude to have in general, let alone to apply to all of humanity. But I personally, again, using my own life, I don't want to get too much into it, but I know I've had teachers that it's like you wanted to learn from them. They're interesting. I've had people that you want to be around. They're really kind and nice people, and I had at least one leader who I would have done just about anything for because he was a cool leader. He was a good leader. He was an honorable man. He was somebody I respected the bleep out of. And I would have tried to do anything he asked me to. And I would have just given up. Heck, I remember way back in the day, I did 100 sit-ups. It wasn't because that particular leader asked me to, but a different leaders were telling us to keep doing them. And I kept doing them, and I did 100 sit-ups. I've never been able to do that again, but nonetheless, a good leader can inspire people to do things that they wouldn't otherwise do. So it just seems to me that God is an incompetent leader, not a good leader at all. He's like, it'd just be too much. So I'm not even going to try. I just know that they're not going to do it. Why even bother? If I read up on some human history, you'll notice that extremely good people are quite rare. So what? That doesn't matter. So how does this excuse God? See, anything to deflect the conversation away from the fault of God, make it about the humans. Well, vicious people, when exposed to temptation, are quite common. And that, again, would be God's fault. And the short answer to your question is no, because of free will. So God just sucks as a leader. Couldn't God give more strength to people? And I think free will is just a cop-out. A good leader can motivate people to do things. So, and then, of course, you had Jesus come along. So Jesus never said don't have slaves either. Like, couldn't he have done that? I don't know. So there you have it. What the weirdness of me requesting for somebody to be a better Christian and to be a nice person, and for them to just have this visceral, like, it's like, what? I don't get it. And I can be pretty rough at times, but it's like, if I'm genuinely trying to get people to be better lately. Like, I don't know that I'm going about it the right way, but I've started to do that. I'm trying to, like, go more positive, I probably will forget that I'm doing that and go back. I don't know. But, it's like, I want that. I want people to be good towards each other. And like, we can debate ideas without insulting the bleep out of each other. Can't we? I mean, I don't know. So, the idea of this perfect being that for some unexplainable reason can't just tell people what the right thing is to do, that is completely, there is no apologetic for that. I know that the apologists have tried. They have tried everything to make early slavery in the Bible be okay. They'll bend over backwards trying to fix this. And you can't. You can't. You cannot resolve it being a good, noble, powerful deity and it not only not bothering to tell people to not do slaves at all, but telling them how to do slaves. Like, here's specific instructions on how to do it. I've heard every excuse for this offered. Well, it was a way to make it so people didn't have to be poor. And it's like, come on, you got, and then a free will. That's not even an excuse, though. It's like, just tell them it's wrong. But the reason why that doesn't happen is because it wasn't God that had these commandments at all. It wasn't God that did that. It was the people that had these ideas. And the people said that God told them or God commanded X, Y, and Z. It was the leaders of the time that codified these things. That's who really did this. Now, that's separate from whether or not God exists. But the idea that God is loving / powerful is incompatible with ordering people how to maintain slaves rather than telling them that's a bad thing to do. Even Jesus didn't say not to do it. So, you're done. And that's because if Jesus said anything at all relevant, which, I mean, yeah, Jesus was a human. It wasn't God. And the God of the early Bible, Yahweh, I don't think that was God either. I think that was people making a God, attributing things that happened to them to that God. Now, maybe there is an actual God, but it wouldn't be this God. It wouldn't be the God of the Bible. Unless you're willing to give a lot of exceptions to that God. And then the God you wind up with is very different than Yahweh. Which is kind of a good thing, because Yahweh's a jerk. Anyways, that's my Mussings on Mark's many comments and just this oddness of how riled up people can get. And, I don't know what to make of it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for, hey, look, let's try to be good people to each other. All right. That's all I got. Until whenever. Lobsters.